Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Jay.
All right, Jim. So the Timberwolves got their 50th win last night. They beat the lowly Pistons 106-91, led by Naz Reid, 21 points, 20 from Jaden McDaniels. Your thoughts on the Wolves getting to 50 and closing the gap a little bit on OKC and Denver?
Yep. Tied for second with OKC, a game behind Denver. Big game tomorrow night in Denver. It's going to be fascinating. They've just put themselves in a great position. They've had the kind of season I think most of us hope they would have. And so many good things have happened. And the atmosphere over there is fantastic. The fans are really into it. The team is really cohesive and fun to watch. Last night, as you mentioned, Naz Reid has been great since they moved him in the starting lineup. He's been very productive. And Jaden McDaniels is not a consistently good offensive player, but he's had some big games with Karl Anthony Towns not in the lineup. Last night was one of them. And Kyle Anderson had a really good all-around game and I think he's figuring out that, hey, just because the other team leaves you open for three-point line doesn't mean you should take that shot. He's better with the Euro step. He's better getting in the paint and either finding a creative way to score or dishing from there. He was really good at that last night.
Jim, when you look at this team, where they're at, without Karl Anthony Towns, can they beat Denver tomorrow night? I mean, how big a disadvantage is that to play without him? And have they gotten better without him since he's been out?
They figured out how to play without him. Naz has adapted very well to their starting lineup. Last year, Gobert and Naz Reid didn't really seem to know how to play together. This year, they do seem to know how to play together. But, it's never a good thing to lose one of your better players and your best three-point shooter. It takes away some high-end capability. They're doing well without him. I don't know if they match up well with Denver without him because, one of the thoughts they had was, okay, you got to go up against Jokic. You got to go up against some teams that like playing small ball. Let's have three bigs and bully people. Well, you're not as big a bully without Karl Anthony Towns. You're not as deep without Karl Anthony Towns. So it's not going to be. It wouldn't be easy to beat this team in Denver even with Towns. Without him, it is a disadvantage. But let's not pretend we know what's going to happen. The league and the season's been very unpredictable.
Jim, the baseball season starts today. The Twins are in Kansas City against the Royals. Looks like a pretty nice day, 65, 66 degrees or so there, partly cloudy. So it's a good thing they're opening on the road. Pablo Lopez versus Cole Reagans is the pitching matchup. The Twins are expected to win the division. They finished first last year. The Royals finished last. Your thoughts on this opener?
Well, the Royals, it's probably not a great time to play them. They were a terrible team last year. They did re-sign Bobby Witt. They also brought in, Waka and brought in Reagans last year. Reagans pitched great for him last year. So this is not an easy matchup. Game 2 is against Seth Lugo, who also pitched well last year with the Padres. So first two games are going to be a challenge here. As I always say, opening day is a blast. If you love baseball, it's not any more meaningful than a Tuesday night in June. So, if they lost their opener, it wouldn't mean anything. But with Lopez on the mound, they obviously want to win a high percentage of his starts. And we'll see what this lineup looks like. The bullpen is battered right now. They don't have great depth in the starting rotation, but they have their ace on the mound. They have a very good lineup. Let's see how they handle a pretty good young pitcher.
Jim, with all the injuries to starting pitchers to start the year, is Pablo Lopez a top 5 pitcher in baseball?
He might be, yeah. By the way, Sonny Gray is one of the many pitchers starting the year on the injured list. He might be. I haven't looked at it in those terms. I think he's probably more around 10 to 15. But hey, he pitched really well last year. He got off to a good start. Then he had kind of a lull, and then he started really figuring things out, and he was excellent down the stretch, and he was excellent in the playoffs. So he's not he hasn't proved that he's a finished product. He still has to prove that he can be a dominant pitcher for an entire season, but I think he's capable of that.
Jim, so we're going to see Byron Buxton playing center field, right? Is there going to be any limitations, do you know, on his health if you got inclement conditions? How much time he might need off? Do we know anything about Buxton and his availability to play the center field a lot?
I mean, it's going to be day to day. Every day he's going to show up. They're going to figure out the situation. I doubt they're going to play him if the field's slick. I doubt they're going to play him, I doubt they're going to start the season playing him absolutely every day out there. It's just going to be a feel thing. They don't, last year they tried to come up with a plan because they were planning on him not playing center field for at least half the season. And then the plan ended up being no center field. It just, plans are kind of worthless. Whatever happens, happens.
Jim, you mentioned baseball, and when it starts up is just kind of a lot of fun. And there's something about opening day baseball that seems different. A lot of teams, well, not a lot, I guess 4 teams are having to move their games to, it looks like tomorrow, the Brewers, Mets, Braves, Phillies. And everybody pretty much has built in that second day of the season to be an off day just in case they have to push something back.
Yes. Listen, I've talked to the Twins many times about schedule making and, why did they have the opening here? Why are you playing in a potential cold weather game and all that? And they said they'd love to complain, but making the schedule is just really brutal when you figure in all the permutations and the balance that's required, all that. So if you're going to play 162 games, you're going to have bad weather games. It's that simple. And I don't think any of the major pro sports should play as many games as they're playing, with the possible exception of the NFL. They shouldn't be playing 162 games. If you play 162 games, you're going to play bad weather. Early in the season, you're going to have bad postseason weather. It's just the way it is.
Jim, in college basketball, there's so much college basketball free agency is pretty much the transfer portal, and it's unusual if you don't have a couple of players leave the program through the transfer portal. And the Gopher basketball program has at least one. Joshua Ola-Joseph put his name in the transfer portal. Your thoughts on that decision?
Well, this is exactly what the transfer portal is for. He started the year as a starter. He was playing heavy minutes midway through the season. By the end of the season, he was barely playing, and they have some more guards coming in. He's not going to play. So here's a guy who wants to go play. I can't blame him for that. And it's not really a loss for the program. And he's a good effort player. As soon as Christie started stepping forward, they just didn't he wasn't going to get many minutes. And I don't know that he probably would have been like an 8th, 9th, 10th man next year.
So when it comes to guys like Christie and Garcia, is no news good news in regards to what their status is for coming back next year?
I think so. Listen, it's certainly certainly a logical thing if you're a talented young basketball player to see what's out there and to talk to people about whether you're ready for the NBA or whether you could make a good living playing professionally someplace else. But I don't think either's ready. Again, if you can't dominate the Big Ten, you have no place in the NBA. Luka Garza dominated the Big Ten. He was the National Player of the Year. He has size. He has post moves. He has skill. He plays hard, and he can't get off the bench. That's just how hard it is to make your way in the NBA.
Do you have any opinion on Ice Cube offering Caitlin Clark $5 million to play in his 3-on-3 league?
I think it's great. I think it's really forward-thinking, smart business move. At the very least, we're talking about Ice Cube, and we're talking about his basketball league. Would we be talking about them if he had offered $5 million to some random college men's player? Excuse me. So smart marketing. He knows Caitlin's not going to take it, and it's cool that people are paying attention to women's college basketball. So
if she were to take it, she'd play against men. Is that right?
She's not going to take it. And, between endorsements, WNBA contracts, she's probably going to do just fine. She might not make $5 million. She's going to make lots of money. But, and you know what? If the seasons were different, if she could do both, she could play the WNBA and play in this league, that would be a really interesting test of the WNBA's rules and bylaws or whatever else. But it would be kind of fun to watch. But it's not going to happen. It's just kind of a fun idea.
Yeah, it sounds like Ice Cube says, oh, no, she could play in the WNBA as well. I don't know. I don't even know what time of year they play. So
the season's over. I looked it up yesterday. I don't have it in front of me. I think the season's overlap a little bit.
Okay. The Minnesota Wild are going to play tonight as they take on San Jose at home. Things are not looking great as far as them making the playoffs. They're 9 points back. They have 11 games to play. They not only have to catch Vegas, but they have to go ahead of St. Louis. Not likely to be a playoff team, right, Jim?
No, and the math's been bad for a long time. Even when they made a really nice run and got close in the standings, they're still dealing with teams that had more points and played fewer games. And Vegas went through a slump that made all the optimism possible. Now Vegas is starting to play well again, and they have 9-point lead. At least last time I looked, might be bigger now. it'd be kind of a miracle now for them to make it.
Jim, I saw some rumors yesterday, and I hate to bring rumors up to you, but it seems like this is kind of how things go. Justin Jefferson getting a long-term contract. Do you think they're close?
I don't know why. We could say this every 5 minutes. Justin Jefferson is close. Oh, he's not close. Oh, he's not as close as you. Oh, it's heating up. Oh, it's cooling off. I mean, they're negotiations, and so I just try to apply logic. Why would Justin Jefferson sign a long-term deal before he sees what they do at quarterback? I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, I think that the Vikings really do want to sign him to a long-term deal. I think he's going to get a huge amount of money. I don't know why his camp would agree before they see what the Vikings do. What if the Vikings didn't get a quarterback in the first 2 rounds? I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But I mean, what if he's looking at just playing with Sam Darnold all season and not knowing when or how they're going to get a real quarterback? I mean, why would he sign the deal? So that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
All right, Jim, what do you got in your podcast?
Let's see. Full slate is up at TalkNorth.com. We have the Twins season preview show out with Roy Smalley and Lavelle Neal. That's out this morning at TalkNorth.com or on your favorite podcast app. We still have John Krasinski and the Wolves and the Viking Update show out. We'll do a bunch of shows here the next couple of days, and everything's at TalkNorth.com. All
right, Jim, thank you. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Thanks, Jay.
It's Jim Souhan, Star Tribune sports columnist, joining us every weekday morning at this time. Follow him on Twitter at SouhanStrib. Check out his latest column in the Star Tribune or his podcast at TalkNorth.com. Dream Getaway 76. Today is the final day of code words, and it's Thursday, so all code words are worth 3 times. Our first code word of the day is washer. W-A-S-H-E-R. Washer. W-A-S-H-E-R. Type that in. You could win a vacation of a lifetime. News now.